Way to go, Jerry. Fumbled negotiations so badly with All-Pro linebacker Micah Parsons that the kid just wants out of town.
If Micah Parsons were available, Buffalo is the team that should give away, its next 2 entire drafts to get him. That would be the missing piece.
So if Jones gives in and agrees to honor Parsons' trade request, where could the 4-time Pro Bowler end up? Well, let's dive into 10 teams that should definitely make a trade push for the Cowboys superstar. Pittsburgh Steelers. Parsons and TJ Watt are both among the top 5 pass rushers in the game. So in other words, pairing Parsons with Watt would feel like a prime Reggie White and prime Lawrence Taylor teaming up together in the 90s. And quite frankly, there just hasn't been a pass rushing duo that could match the explosiveness of a Parsons-Watt tandem. And the fun thing, if you're a Steelers fan, is the hypothetical dream scenario doesn't just end there. Pittsburgh also boasts the ageless Cameron Hayward and Alex Highsmith in the front 7. As if Parsons and Watt wouldn't be terrifying enough. Pittsburgh made 3 mega win-now moves by signing Aaron Rodgers, acquiring DK Metcalf, and Jalen Ramsey. Even if Rodgers leaves after just 1 season, a defense led by Watt and Parsons would be good enough to keep the Steelers in long-term title contention. Honestly, it wouldn't matter who lines up behind center if Pittsburgh has these 2 running the show. The Steelers deal with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert in the brutal AFC. But neither of those QBs would have an O-line capable of locking down a Watt-Parsons tandem. Pittsburgh has already swung for the fences thrice this offseason. Why not do it once more and extend your Super Bowl window even longer post-Rodgers by picking up one of the league's premium defensive players in his prime? Buffalo Bills. The Bills have been devoid of a legitimate superstar defensive player since prime Tre'Davious White, which was 5 years ago. One difference between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes? Well, the latter has one of the league's premier defensive stars in Chris Jones, while Allen, he doesn't have one. Well, that could all change with one simple phone call and GM Brandon Beane's successful trade negotiation, which would bring Micah Parsons to Buffalo. Think of Buffalo's last 3 playoff losses to the Kansas City Chiefs. They were all decided by a single score. Now just imagine if they had Micah Parsons for any of those games. We could be talking about a Super Bowl championship in Buffalo by now. The Buffalo's window is wide open with Allen in his prime, but there just aren't enough difference makers on defense for this team to get through the Kansas City roadblock. Add Micah Parsons to the mix and, well, the dynamic on that defense changes entirely. KC's offensive line looks more vulnerable in 2025 compared to the previous 3 years. This is finally Buffalo's chance to strike. Los Angeles Rams. I mean, why the heck not? No GM loves making blockbuster trades more than Les Snead. The Rams' ability to find late-round gems like Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams, Kobe Turner, and Byron Young in the draft have only enhanced Snead's philosophy that first-round picks aren't needed to build a sustainable contender. I mean, remember, Snead gave up a 26-year-old QB in his prime and multiple first-round picks to get Stafford 4 years ago. You think giving up multiple firsts for a 26-year-old linebacker in his prime is a scary thought to Snead? Oh no, zero chance. The Rams are in a unique spot where they're built to win now and over the long haul. Hell, their pass rush is scary enough with Turner, Young, Braden Fisk, and Jared Verse, but adding Parsons immediately makes LA the team to beat in a difficult NFC. Cincinnati Bengals. This might be a bit of wishful thinking, since Bengals owner Mike Brown is far too cheap to pay his own guys like Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart, but hey, if there was an ideal time for Brown to remember that he's a billionaire and go all in, well, it's now. We're not sure what the long-term future holds for Hendrickson, but here's the thing. Getting Parsons is a win-win for Cincinnati. Either they lock up Hendrickson and have a new super duo to build the defense around, or they move on from the former and have the ideal replacement in Parsons. Cincy plays in a tough division led by Lamar Jackson's Ravens and the relentless Steelers, and the likes of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes will always be a roadblock in the AFC. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are enough to keep the Bengals in playoff contention. But it feels like they're just one bona fide superstar on defense away from returning to the tier of Super Bowl contender. So hey, make a deal for Parsons, and the chances of winning a Super Bowl will skyrocket for this long-suffering franchise and its fans. Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are still searching for a true all-pro caliber defensive star to carry the unit like Chandler Jones did some years ago. I mean, Zaven Collins had just 5 sacks last season. That led the Cardinals. The year before, Dennis Gardeck led the club with 6. Arizona signed ex-Philadelphia Philadelphia Eagles start and use their 2025 first-round pick on Walter Nolan to improve the front seven. If they could add Micah Parsons to the mix, Arizona would go from a mushy middle team to an instant player in the NFC. Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon oversaw an Eagles D that racked up 70 sacks in 2022 when he was a defensive coordinator. A big three would put the rest of the NFC West on notice. Los Angeles Chargers. Khalil Mack is now taking it year by year, and the oft-injured Joey Bosa was cut in a cap-saving move before signing with Buffalo. So, in other words, the Chargers' long-term outlook on the front seven is murky at best. Not only do the Bolts need more pass-rushing help, but they play in a brutal AFC West featuring the Chiefs, Denver Broncos, and new-look Las Vegas Raiders. The Chargers feel like a team that needs all-world talent on defense to survive the very difficult AFC. Prime Joey Bosa was special, but prime Micah Parsons is even better. Another reason for LA to make the ultra splash for Parsons? Well, most of their core is young, so that competitive window is not going to close anytime soon. So a core of Parsons, Justin Herbert, Rashawn Slater, Joe Alton, Ladd McConkey, woo, that would be as dangerous as any other in the NFL. Seattle Seahawks. We know the mega trade for Jamal Adams didn't quite pan out, but even prime Jamal Adams was nothing close to the impact player that Micah Parsons is. The Seahawks have rebuilt a nice foundation here in the post-Russell Wilson era. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Kenneth Walker III, Charles Cross, Devin Witherspoon, Derek Hall, and Reek Woolen form a solid young nucleus. The Hawks are banking on veterans like Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, Julian Love, and Leonard Williams to keep the club competitive and in the playoff race. But what if GM John Schneider went back to his old all-in aggressive self and made a play for Parsons? After years of underachieving, Seattle's defense finally came together in 2024 under rookie head coach Mike McDonald. But if they could pull off a deal for Parsons and add him to a defense with other young stars like Witherspoon, Woolen, and Hall, well, Seattle would immediately emerge as a Super Bowl contender. Chicago Bears. The last time the Bears made a blockbuster trade for a superstar defensive player, it worked out pretty dang good. That was back in 2018 when they acquired 2016 Defensive Player of the Year Khalil Mack from the Oakland Raiders. Mack led the Bears to a surprise NFC North Division crown in 2018 and a wildcard berth in 2020. And it's not like the Raiders did very well with the return that they got from Las Vegas. But anywho, the Bears have promising youngsters Caleb Williams, Darnell Wright, Romo Dunze, Luther Burden III, and Colson Loveland on rookie contracts. And as loaded as they are on offense, the Bears defense does not offer much outside of Montez Sweat and Jalen Johnson. Right now, Chicago is the fourth best team in the NFC North behind the Lions, Green Bay Packers, and Minnesota Vikings. Why? Well, those three teams have plenty of difference makers on defense. The Bears do not. Yeesh, as if dealing with the likes of Jared Goff, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Love isn't difficult enough. With all that long-term cap space sealed up, the Bears can afford to part with multiple first-round picks and pay Parsons whatever he wants. So, if you add him to that up-and-coming nucleus, it won't be long until the Bears emerge as the new kings of the NFC North and as a prime Super Bowl player. Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens don't usually make splashy trades since they draft better than just about every other team. They have a top-5 offense led by Lamar Jackson and arguably the league's best secondary featuring Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander, Nate Wiggins, and Malachi Starks. But the front seven is filled with above-average to good but not quite great players. And Baltimore's lack of playoff success under Jackson largely stems from lacking a pass rush that can get after top QBs like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. I mean, in their last two playoff losses, Baltimore's usually dangerous defense combined for 3 sacks. Few players can move the needle more than Micah Parsons, and we just can't help but think about how much better this unit would be if he came aboard. Baltimore is good enough to hang in there with the Bills and Chiefs, but Parsons would make them the team to beat in the AFC. Detroit Lions. The Lions have a superstar defensive end in Aiden Hutchinson, but after that, well, there's not much more to offer as far as pass rushers go. Detroit's defense was a mess after Hutchinson suffered a season-ending injury last year. The Lions' inability to generate any pressure on Jaden Daniels led to their stunning 45-31 loss in the divisional round. If Hutchinson were active, who knows? We could be talking about a Lions Super Bowl title defense by now. The Lions honestly are loaded at most positions. They have a top 3 offense, a stud edge rusher, a nice set of linebackers, and a quality secondary led by Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, and Tyrion Arnold. Now, if they could just get one more big-time pass rusher to fill that final hole. Seriously, the Lions are good enough to win a Super Bowl with their roster, but a player like Parsons would almost guarantee a championship. I mean, there is zero chance at containing a tandem of Parsons and Hutchinson. The Lions' window is open for the long haul. Parsons is just in the early stages of his prime. Make the trade for the All-Pro linebacker, and the Lions can go ahead and pre-plan their Super Bowl parade. But hey, where do you think Micah Parsons will play in 2025? And where do you think he should play? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.